Chapter 8. If this isn't abundance, then what is it? I was already used to be flowing very high for the last few months, living in pure magic, with all the events, big, small, medium, events of all kinds and magnitudes presenting themselves in my daily existence at the precise moment, in the precise amount, in the precise fashion, without me even asking for absolutely anything, as I used to do in my previous life, in which I hung on to things I believed I wanted and asked with deep intensity every night at bedtime. Or I used to light candles with specific wishes and things along those lines. Now that I realize it, since the last couple of years, I do not do any of that. It was nothing pre-planned. It has been something completely gradual, completely imperceptible. I have realized about it just now as I write this. But yes, the last few months, everything has come practically to a point in which I think of something and it is suddenly there, as the most natural thing in the world. And when I see it or feel it, I realize that was exactly what I was thinking about or desiring in that precise moment. Everything in a very subtle and natural way. It is so interesting to me how everything is coming to be. So much unbelievable abundance in my life, but again, it is not unbelievable to me anymore. It is becoming the most normal thing in my world, and something that amuses and excites me, but does not surprise or amaze me like it did before. It does keep an eternal smile on my face, and infinite joy in my eyes, and intense happiness in my being. And even though I could go on forever with stories and memories of the endless details of synchronicities and abundance in my daily life during these past couple of years, there are two of them that have a very special place in my heart. For the overwhelming attention to details that life or the universe, or the name does not really matter, put together to make me realize the magnitude of what was taking place at that moment of my life. The trip to the Seaquarium. One day of April of 2015, at 10:56 a.m., my child's teacher sends an email that talks about this trip for the first time, asking if parents were approving of their child going. 9 minutes later, I replied to her and said, "Absolutely." She did not answer anything else until about a week later, and I responded how happy I was about their trip and how much we loved that place. I talked to my mom about me telling the teacher that if they needed parents to volunteer, I would be delighted to go. And my mom was very excited for me to go, and she thought it was a great idea for me to volunteer because that way I could be close to my child since they would be so far from home. And I just kept thinking in very deep excitement how much fun it would be for me to spend this day with my dear child, classmates, and teachers, in this environment that we've come to love so much since 2 years ago. And what an incredible experience it would be for my child to see me there, since this young mind only associates that place with family, not with something school related. And to combine everything in one place, so far from home, will be quite unique for this little mind, and very delightful for me. In the meantime, my child's teacher sent out a general email saying that since there has been such an interest among parents to volunteer to this event, she will find out the amount of money that parents would need to pay for the entrance tickets, and that the children tickets were covered by the school, but parents willing to go would have to pay for their tickets. And in my mind I said, great, things are moving along. Then one Monday, already in May, as I was sitting at the bench during my child's soccer session, somewhere around 6:30 p.m., one parent from my child's class asked me if I was going to the aquarium with the kids, and my eyes illuminated as I said, yes, I love that place. And he goes on talking about how he doesn't know how much the ticket is, and that it is probably too expensive, and that he did not know whether we all fit in the bus. And I said that I wanted to go anyways, talked about the different shows and how they compare to the ones in the more famous aquarium in another city. And I told him about the day we sat right on the spot where the whale lifts that impressive wall of water, and what an experience that was, and how we had never expected it to be something so powerful, and what happened to my dad's camera as the result of it, and how my child was scared and somewhat paralyzed at first, and then quickly got over it, and was even amused by the experience, and on and on. And then I explained to him that I was sure we would be asked to drive our cars, since all the school buses are so small and barely have enough room for the students and their teachers, and that I would want my child to go in the bus to have the full classroom experience learning about the ocean habitat, and I would just follow the bus, and maybe on the way back bring my child with me, and depending on the time we would stop by Grandpa's house and spend a few minutes with him. Or if not, if other parents wanted to carpool, I would just carpool with them, and perhaps bring the kids on the way back with us, or just follow the bus again. None of it mattered to me at all. Inside of me, the only thing that was present was eagerness, anticipation, fun, all kinds of nice expectations about how much we would enjoy that day. I looked up the prices and told him, and he still was not convinced. And I kept saying that I was going anyways, and how happy I was about going, still expecting my child's teacher's follow-up email with the directions for what parents needed to do, the prices, etc. And the next day, not even 24 hours later, I received an email from her, directed to me and two other parents, saying that we were the first three parents that expressed interest in going with the kids, and since there was some money left over, our entrance to the park was covered. Honestly, I was not expecting that at all. I was just waiting for the follow-up email with the instructions, and was extremely happy about being able to go and have that experience with my child. But at the same time, all I said was, thank you, universe, and felt it as the most natural thing and something really normal. I, of course, did not expect these specific details. I was just expecting to be good. And it turned out to be more delightful and amusing than anything I had ever imagined. Some days passed by without major thinking about the trip on my part. Well, that is not really true. I had been so excited about it, so excited. I told all my close people about it, the ones close by and the ones far away. In my mind, I am constantly thinking about it, and I do not even know why. We have been there already. I'm not a kid anymore. That is part of my comment to everyone I talk to about it. The fact that I'm not a kid anymore, and I'm more excited than if I were one. My mom gave me a blue Life is Good t-shirt, and I automatically said, I am going to wear this one on the aquarium field trip. Then I said, I will wear it with my blue sunglasses. And then we went to the store for my mom to get some Mother's Day presents, and all I had in my mind was the field trip. So I ended up getting a blue backpack to be able to carry my child's food easier. And at the same time wear something that matches with this aquarium. And blue shoes. I kept telling the story of how lucky I was to my closest people, amused by how things were happening, without me even thinking that any of that was possible. Last night at soccer practice, another parent asked me whether I was going to the field trip. And I said, of course. Then whether I was driving my car, and whether I was meeting them at school, and whether I was taking my child in the car with me or in the bus with the teachers and the kids. To which I said that yes, I was driving my car and I was going to meet them early at school, which I thought was what everybody would do. And that for the trip to the aquarium, I preferred that my child rides with the teachers and classmates in the bus, and I follow in my car for the full experience of going on the field trip with everybody else. Otherwise, it would be like riding in the car with me, just like going to any of the many places we go together, just the two of us. And then I added that maybe if it was too late, I would take my child in the car with me on the way back, and that I did not mind if another parent wanted to ride with me, etc., etc. The morning of the trip, my child was tired because of a long day the day before, bowling, then soccer, and getting to bed later than I wanted to, and I miscalculated the time that morning and got out of the house later than we needed to. And one of my eyes was a little reddish because something had fallen in it, and I was thinking, what if they think that I have a pink eye and I will be contagious to the kids? I should stay and have them take my child. And then I was thinking, but wait, I have been wanting to go on this trip for the longest time, for my child to have the experience, etc., etc. And I know I do not have a pink eye. I mean, it is pink, but not for the reason that people usually fear pink eyes. So I was with all of that tug of war inside of me, to go, not to go, total indecision. Not a nice feeling at all. No. That was a normal state of being for me before, but that was not who I am now. And then I say, I am going. Got out of the house and into my car and realized, oh my God, I ended up not putting gasoline in my car last night. Well, I will rush to school because it's already late. Then I will have them take my child in the bus with them. I will follow them, and if I make it to the place, fine. And on the way back, stop for gas. And if I see the gas is getting empty, then I will stop for gasoline and catch up with them later. So very short time to get to school, but pretty good ride. We would have enough time to barely make it. And all of a sudden, almost right at the exit we needed to take for school, the traffic totally stopped. There were so many cars that it appeared that there was no hope to at least start moving anytime soon. I called the teacher and told her, we're almost at the exit, but the traffic stopped. Just leave and I will head south with my child and meet you there. And she quickly goes, nope, we will wait for you until you get here. To which I did not have anything to respond. In my heart, I was so appreciative of her words. I just said thank you and hung up, just in case other parents were also calling her. And the second I hung up, the traffic cleared as if by magic. And it was such a smooth ride that we made it by the time they said they wanted to leave. Getting to school parking lot was somewhat shocking to me. I was expecting to see at least 5 or 6 parents there, and the teachers already getting all the students in the vans, but nothing. Deserted. Since it was much earlier than the start of the school day, the parking lot was deserted. I was lucky enough that the school bookkeeper arrived at that moment. I asked her, and she thought they would have left by now, but said she would check for me anyways. Then one of the assistants came out, and I asked whether everybody was here already, and she said no, and told me to bring my child inside and that I should come in too. I left everything in the car since I was going to follow them. When I got in, I showed the teacher my eye, and I explained I think it was in that condition because something had fallen in it. She said not to worry. I insisted, but do you know why I'm showing it to you? If you want, I can just stay. I do not want anyone to feel uncomfortable thinking it is something else. And she said, no, you stay close to us and do not worry about it. Then we got inside the classroom, and there were 3 other students besides my child, plus the teacher and the assistants, and no parents and no other kids. One of the assistants gave me half of her coffee. Everybody was extremely happy and nice. And then the teacher announced, it is time to go. So we started walking to the parking lot, and as we got out and I was going to head to my car, she goes, you come in the red van with us. And I said, are you sure? I was thinking I will just follow you. And she said, no, just come with us. 2 of the students that were coming are not here today, so we have extra room. And I say, oh, thank you. Ran out to my car to get my backpack and my child's lunchbox. And I ended up going with them, sitting in the front seat, not having to drive my car all by myself, not having to pay for the entrance ticket, not having to worry about the empty tank, not having to even pay for the gas for this trip. It was a very pleasant trip, getting to know my child's teachers on a more personal level, talking about various topics, even being silly at times. The kids were extremely well behaved. We got there and the Seaquarium parking lot was totally empty. Only some of the parents and their kids were there, and the other ones arrived shortly after that. It ended up being that apparently they decided to just go straight to the park and take their kids with them. I guess they did that to save time. I am not sure. But to me, it was more important for my child to have the full experience of the field trip, even if it was going to mean a waste of time and gasoline, since we live south and the school is 20 minutes north of our house and the park is about an hour and a half south of our house. But spending all that extra time and extra driving was never even an issue in my mind. All that mattered to me was the fullest experience possible for my child. For the first couple of hours, the park was almost completely just for us. It started to get full when we were about to leave. So it truly was an out-of-this-world, delightful experience. They had announced rain for that day, so I was thinking about it for a few days and thinking, no, it is not possible that something so beautiful and so expected is going to get spoiled by the rain. So I was kind of trusting that it was going to be just fine. And early that morning, around 3 or 4 a.m., very heavy rain. And I remember me thinking, oh no, this is not possible. The kids are supposed to have a beautiful day. Then I kept there, laying on my bed, and about 6 a.m., the heaviest sudden rain I have ever seen. And I was like, what? And then I remembered that for the past week, whenever we would get on the highway in the morning to go to school, and there was heavy, almost not moving traffic, I would tell my child, let's see how we can ease out this traffic. And it had worked every time. All of a sudden, every single time, it was as if that traffic had never even been there. And we got to school in record time without any worries, without any stress, every time. And every time on my way back home, I would still see the miles and miles of stock, totally non-moving traffic still there. But we were miraculously out of it. So I remember that and said in loud voice, let's ease out this weather. Now I do not remember if I said it out loud or if I said it in a very loudly manner in my mind's voice. But I know I said it with all my being. And all I know is that it was the most beautiful sunny day, sunny but breezy, perfect for a place like that. All the kids were perfect. All of them were very happy. All the parents were happy. The teachers were very pleased. We got back to school in perfect timing, almost at the end of dismissal. The other parents with their kids went straight home from the park. My child and I went back to school with the classmates and teachers and had time to go home, have a snack, relax a little, and go to a 6 to 7 p.m. exercise class. And even though I thought the exhaustion would act against performance and behavior, it ended up being perfect. We got back home, ate, took a shower, played a little, and then without many issues, my child cleaned up, went to bed, and fell asleep. Today my child has been full of energy the whole day, and something totally unexpected by me, by the way, has been following along and doing an excellent job everywhere. So, without me expecting any of this, well, the only thing I was expecting and hoping was that they would let me go with them to the aquarium trip. Just let me go with them. But then all these miracles, one after another, totally unexpected, totally unimagined, started to happen out of nowhere. And even the idea and the possibility of this trip came out of nowhere. I found out later that it was not something planned. It originated in my child's teacher's mind because of an unexpected gift the class received from somebody. And since they were learning about marine habitats, it was the perfect place to go. And I ended up having a blissful experience with well-behaved, happy kids. It was totally awesome. Thank you. The trip to a 3.5-hour away country by airplane. Every time my child and I go to this very loved place, 2.5 hours away from us by car, we can see the only elevations that exist in our entire area. I am sure my child could notice the landscape a little different, but did not know how to express it. Just within this past year, my child's vocabulary has started to build up a little, and around 2 months before the end of last school year, they learned the word mountain at school. So our next trip to that very loved place was particularly special for me for 2 reasons. One, when we passed by one of those garbage hills, my child suddenly said, "Mountain." And this was the very first time I heard my child use that word. Plus, it was one of the very first times my child had been able to use a word learned in school in real life. And 2, in that moment I realized we needed to go to the real place. We needed to go to where my child could feel what a mountain is and sense the special energy one feels when being immersed in such beauty. I think this very special moment was the reason, the fuel that made me start thinking in action terms. Honestly, all my life, since I moved to this area, I have been missing the mountains, and especially the first 2 years after all this started to happen to me, it has been a great need for me to see the mountains again, to feel them. So I guess I could not tolerate the fact that my child was misusing such special term to refer to the landfill hills. Every time we drove by those hills after that, I would say, "This is not a mountain, child of mine. One day I will take you to see real mountains, I promise." At that point, I had no idea how we would be able to do that, where to go, and especially I could never imagine we would be traveling so soon. I have always stressed out a lot about taking my child to places. Not so much anymore, I have to admit, but before it was always hugely stressful to me, even to go to a store or a restaurant nearby. The way my child's body did not respond properly the first years of his life. Then my child started to grow, and the behaviors and body movements were not the same as of those of someone the same age. The way that many things would trigger spontaneous and many times disruptive behaviors, especially when around people or in enclosed places, in stores, when standing in line, when the music was loud, etc., etc. Then the fact that after I realized what was going on with my child, I decided to follow the path of a very strict natural diet, where everything is made at home, combined with the fact that my child is very selective in terms of food. All of this causes us going places to be something much more than an adventure. At the same time, I have always been of the opinion that we better endure things sooner than later, and that we need to be able to live a normal life. And the more exposed my child is to things and experiences, the more and the faster learning will take place. And when I started taking my child places as early as 1 year old, I started to notice that somehow there was a tremendous expansion in awareness every time. My child's ability to incorporate new skills would increase, and so forth and so on. And I always thought that we needed to do it now, because later, when my child became an adult, it would probably be too late to begin. Anyways, we have never stayed home because my child would act one way or another. But I always made sure that either my father and his wife or my brother would go with us. I was worried that if something happened to me, or if whatever unforeseen event took place, etc., I would need somebody else to make sure my child would be fine. Plus, with all the special diets, etc., being by myself would not be enough to carry everything, plus make sure I could control the spontaneous behaviors, and always the fact that other people sometimes do not understand and may get upset stresses me a big deal. One day, out of the blue, I truly do not know out of where, because this would have never occurred to me in my sane mind. But anyways, that day, out of the blue, the idea of being in an airplane with my child and going through all that experience was placed in my mind. But where? How? I guess my child's sudden interest in the mountains made me think it would have to be a place where we could see them. But at the same time, I wanted it to be a very short trip, non-stop, since I was nervous about many things: bathroom, handling things, finding places, my child's behavior, the other people, etc. The fact that a couple of months before I had reconnected with my school friend who lives in that 3.5 hour away country by airplane, and that she insisted that we go visit, and that she will drive us and take vacation and cook for us, etc., made me decide to go. Since it would be just the airplane experience in a 3.5 hour flight, so we could be taken care of here, since my brother and my mom would be with us till the last minute at the airport, and my friend would be greeting us there and be with us the whole time till our return. Despite all of that, I was still very undecided, nervous, and stressed about it. But all of that changed the minute the first beautiful angel appeared in our lives. Once the intention was in place and the real hope to do it germinated within me, it was literally as if something in the universe was switched to the on position, which then made a very complex but at the same time extremely simple mechanism of many different pieces, big and small, that perfectly fit and work together to begin the beautiful motion process toward the completion of a dream. First, my friend reappearing after about 18 years and using all her kindness and willpower to pull us out of our comfort zone and make me start thinking about this dream in very real terms. Then, it was my child's teacher at school, not the same I talk about in the Sequarium experience, another one. My child's teacher for the prior 2 years, a true angel in our lives, an incredible human being who was always willing to help me in every possible way, so I could have better tools to be able to help my child. I always felt very comfortable in talking with her about anything related to my child. And the minute I told her about the idea of getting on an airplane and how I wanted to give my child this experience, and at the same time how even the simple thought of it caused me to stress so much, in that instant this teacher, without the slightest hesitation, suggested that we should visit someone. And the teacher said she was sure this person would be more than willing to help us. And not only that, she even took the time to contact this person first, so then it would be easier for me, an extremely shy person, to get in contact with her and see how she could help us. And in this simple way, another true angel appeared in our lives, just like that. And from the first minute I spoke to her on the phone, I could sense this was a very special person. But I was never able to even imagine how truly special this person was, and all the beautiful and miraculous things that would unfold for us in the months prior to and during our trip until we came back. From that point forward, what I do not have any other way to describe but as an invasion of angels started to appear in our lives. Many friends and family members that helped us in the most amazing ways, from showering us with monetary gifts that completely covered the expenses of our trip, to taking us and picking us from the airport, to offering lots of advice about packing things and tricks to make the airport experience much easier for me and my child, to giving us many things we would need in our trip. From someone not too close to me sending me a huge bag full of very comfortable and nice clothes that fitted me perfectly, to a mortgage company sending me a check out of the blue for something related to a house that I used to own 10 years ago. From me thinking it would be nice if I could find one of those small travel bags where you put all the personal care items, and when you get to the place, you just open the zipper and it has a hanger and it looks like a little cabinet where you keep everything at your fingertips. In a very nice way. I had seen an old one my dad has, but was never interested since we don't travel far. So the idea came to me, and I had been looking for it in every store we went to, but had not been able to find one. So I completely forgot about it, and one day, as I was helping my cousin pack, since she was moving to another house, there was a pile of items that she no longer needed, and she told me to take whatever I would like. And as I looked at the items, there it was, a brand new one, still in its original package, exactly as the one I was looking for, and my cousin had no idea I wanted one of those. To many family members and friends offering to take care of our 2 dogs while we were gone. And the main thing that everyone showered us with was love. Lots and lots of love.